where Mick ended up. Is that why the rent's so cheap here? So, in addition to DaVinci Resolve tutorials, I also do Blender tutorials. And today I'm going to teach you how to make money with Blender as a beginner. Money just like this. Yeah, it's kind of clickbaity, but hey, I got you here, didn't I? For this tutorial, I'm going to assume that you at least have a basic understanding of how to use Blender, and if you don't, then what are you doing? Go make the f***ing donut. So the only thing you'll need for this tutorial is a front and back image of a currency note of your choice, and in this case we went with a big boy Benny C note. I found an image online with a watermark, but you can just take your own pictures with your phone if you want. However, I am legally obligated to inform you that printing counterfeit currency is against the law and punishable by up to 20 years in federal prison. Unless you're the US government. Let's get started before the feds show up. Open a new project file and send the default cube to the Shadow Realm along with its camera and Sunlamp followers.
Hello. Hello, everybody. It's a Wednesday. It is hump day. I wish I could say it's a good Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Hump day. It's not. Not so much. Especially if you're living in the United States. So, for those who are not aware, who may not be in the United States, there was a man goes by the name of Charlie Kirk, who is so there was a man by the name of Charlie Kirk who was a political commentator, and he was more to the right of the aisle, Christian conservative person, um, who got famous off debate and some ideals that most would consider radical. Charlie Kirk was at a university in Utah today, speaking to a crowd of people in an outdoor venue, and Charlie Kirk was he has passed on, and he was forcibly passed on. I need to be careful what I say because Twitch. I'm not the number one political commentator on Twitch, and I am subject to some disciplinary action if something I say is considered a bit uncouth and against TOS, so I need to be careful. Hey, Corey Ragland. Welcome on in. So yeah, but just to get into the whole gist of it, I'm going to start with a disclaimer. This isn't my normal stuff. I usually don't like to talk politics or sad stuff on my stream. I try to keep that shit out, but this was a big one today, and I just feel like I have to say something just to get it off my chest, and that's that. So if you're not into that kind of talk, and if you're not interested in that kind of discourse, then feel free to tune out. So that said, I'm going to get into it. I wouldn't date you. I don't date men like you. Okay, Jamie, thanks for sharing. That's great. Cool story. So Charlie Kirk has passed on. He was hit in the neck. I saw the video. The uncensored one, the up close one, and it was haunting. It was, well, I mean, I wouldn't wish anybody to watch the video that I watched. It's all over Twitter, so stay off of Twitter because Twitter is nuclear right now. It's just a complete and total mess right now. But when it comes down to it, whether you like the guy, whether you didn't like the guy, there's one thing that can't be denied is that he was taken out just because people didn't like what he had to say. He had some policies, or I don't want to say policies, but he had some viewpoints that many people didn't agree with. Hi, Renzo Lopez, welcome in. a lot of people disliked him for his political viewpoints, his viewpoints on faith, on hot button topics nowadays. Uh, um, so he was panned by a large crowd of people, and mocked by many, loved by many others. It was um I guess why, and I didn't even really fuck with Charlie Kirk like that. Like I wasn't a fan of his or anything. Like he was just kind of like, to me he was just kind of like this guy on the internet that like was inflammatory to people who were on the left of the aisle, and like, you know, hailed by the people who were on the right of the aisle. And he was just kind of like a guy. He was just there. Hey, Dayton Stockton, welcome on in. Um, so anyways, I was browsing Twitter and I saw what had happened, and I saw the actual video, and I saw it. I saw when he grabbed after the impact, and I saw was basically enough for me, because I'm a staunch Second Amendment advocate, which in the United States, that's the right to bear arms. It's how we're able to, as citizens, able to buy firearms and hold on to them. I won at tennis 6-0. Hey, congratulations, Dayton. That's good news. I like good news. Good stuff. Congratulations on your win. Very good. Um, but as I was saying, like, let's just say I saw the hit. I'm a and I know guns, and I know stuff like that. I saw the video, and I was like, I knew that he's not okay. He's probably not going to be okay. And it turns out he wasn't. So he passed on, and he left behind his wife and 2 small children. You have a game tomorrow? Good luck on your game, Dayton. I hope you win. Um, but here's what it all comes down to, and why I think it's why it's sticking with me, is that this guy was inflammatory to some, but he was the guy who was like the debate guy. Like he would talk to people, and he would talk to pretty much anybody, I think. Um, and mostly like he was known for like talking to people at universities. So like he was panned by many critics, saying that he was taking advantage of the youth. And to me, I don't know if it's so much him taking advantage of the youth, but more so like him just trying to like get to the root of people's ideals and change them while they're still flowering, so on. Maybe that's where his mind was at. I need to go by. I need to do something. All right, Dayton, thanks for stopping in. Good luck on your tennis game tomorrow. But I mean, but what it all comes down to was like he had a quote, and let me see if I can pull it up. Shantia Richard. I hope I'm saying that right. Hi, welcome on in. But I'm gonna paraphrase, because I don't know the exact quote by heart, but it was something along the lines of Kirk was talking to somebody who disagreed with him, and or maybe it was someone who didn't disagree with him. But basically, the subject was somebody had asked him, I don't know the context, why are you even talking to X? Because I don't know who they were talking about. Why are you even talking to so and so? And he said something like, because talking is the most important thing we can do. When people stop talking, that's when violence happens. That's when bad things happen, and that's when like stuff like civil war happens. And I think that's a very true and apt statement to make. And to the people on the left side of the aisle, someone in your court just took out one of the talkers, the ones who was like willing to speak, reach across, and have discussion. Someone shot him for it, and he's gone now. So, first and foremost, you didn't get rid of your problem. You didn't get rid of a Charlie Kirk. In fact, you didn't just get rid of Charlie Kirk. In fact, you probably bred more, like 100, 200 more Charlie Kirks because of that. Secondly, left, right, political, non political, Democrat, Republican, whoever you are, anybody who commits violence against another person because of something they said, that is just unacceptable in all fashion. Like, speech is just speech. Speech is not violence. Words cannot hurt you. Now, when it comes to like like emotional hurt, sure. But words cannot kill you. Words cannot do you harm that will cause you physical harm. The whole emotional versus physical is a completely different discussion. But no one's going to tell me that words can physically hurt somebody. And what happened to Charlie Kirk was a very physical reaction to a very non-physical action, which was speech. You should be able to say whatever you want. You can talk, like you can talk to me however way you want. At least if you're in the United States. I mean, I don't think it's just for the United States. I think if you are alive in the world today, you should be able to say whatever you want. I had someone come into my chat on my YouTube chat. Hey, YouTube, by the way, going great, doing great. Who jumped into my chat today and said, I wouldn't date you. I don't date men like you. And you know what? That's fine. It's offensive, sure. But like, that's their right. They can say whatever they want. But someone took a man's life, a father's life. His children and his wife no longer have a husband, father, respectively, because someone took him out because they didn't agree with his words. I don't care what stroke of life or what part of the aisle you sit on, but that is unacceptable. And I don't think anybody who supports that is a good person. In fact, if you're celebrating what happened to him today, I think you're absolute scum. I don't think you're worth the dirt on the bottom of my shoe. I don't think you're worth the compost that sits in the bottom of my little bunny rabbit's cage. You're worth nothing. And there's a certain demographic of people, very outspoken people, on this platform, on Twitch and YouTube and Kick, that with their words embolden people to take violent action. So here's where the First Amendment, which is our freedom of speech, is our most sacred amendment, often gets confused. You can say whatever you want to me. However, if you were to say something that drives another person to action, that is called incitement to violence, and that is not protected under the umbrella of free speech. And yet, we still have a certain group of people on all these platforms that like to spout and vomit this type of rhetoric that emboldens the crazies on the internet to take steps like that, like what happened today. Yet somebody else can get a 2-week ban off of Twitch for calling another person fat. Is it hurtful? Yeah, sure. But then you got another person telling someone to unalive somebody, to unalive these people when they're talking about someone like, say, landlords, and nothing happens to them. They get like a 2-day ban or a Sunday ban. And these are the people who make their living. These are the people who make their living off this website, doing stuff like that, saying stuff like that, emboldening all the little gremlins on the internet who do nothing but live their life behind a screen, who don't see human beings as human anymore just because they're so detached from humanity that they are willing to take a man's life because they didn't like what he said. This is the problem with being politically correct, in my opinion. And I know it's divisive, and I know people may not agree with me on it. That's fine. That is your right. But I'm going to tell you right now, when you start telling people that speech is violence, you absolutely embolden a group of people, radicalize them to think it's okay to take someone's life because of something they said, because you don't agree with what they said. And that's unacceptable in all forms. And to all the people who are celebrating the death of this man, or are celebrating the fact that his children no longer have a father, that his wife no longer has a husband, that the man who encouraged everyone to speak, to keep speaking so that violence doesn't happen, if you're applauding his death, or if you are one of the culprits who are known for speaking violent rhetoric, inciting people to commit violence, just do me a favor. Spare me your thoughts and prayers. No one's buying it. No one's buying it. You're snakes in the grass, you're wolves in sheep's clothing. All of us who try to stay out of politics, we're not buying it. And I'm going to tell you something. You got you guys, whoever you are, you took action. I just hope you're ready for whatever the reaction is, because I don't think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be very, very bad. And so, anyways, I didn't know the man. I wasn't a follower, or I wasn't a fan. But to see a man pass away because of something he said, it's disgusting. And my thoughts and prayers go out to his family, to his children. My thoughts and prayers also go out to the people who were in the front row who had to see that happen. I'm so sorry for that you had to witness that you had to be in the front row to see something like that take place. I hope whoever was witness to that, who was involved in trying to save him, I hope you all get therapy. I hope you all are able to talk to someone, and that you can find a way to cope with the traumatic shit you saw today. And yeah, and I mean, and here's another thing: it's not the guns. Don't fall for that. It's not the guns. Guns are tools. I don't care what anybody says. The problem in this country, the United States, isn't guns. It's mental health. And people want to pass off the problem to inanimate objects instead of addressing the real problem, which is we have a mental health crisis in this country that people want to throw medications at instead of getting to the root of the problem and taking it out, root and stem. Instead, they just throw pills and pills and pills because that makes them money. They get that moolah when they sell the pills. And if you've got people who are getting well, then people aren't buying drugs and they're not getting money and they're not anyways, that's a whole another conspiracy talk for another episode. But my heart goes out to everybody involved. My heart goes out to his family. Just hold your families, just hug your families. Hold your kids close. Kiss them on the cheek, speech has to be protected, and people who try to harm others for what they say, those people need to be dealt with. I don't know how. I don't know which way. But this can't continue like this. It's going to get bad. There's only so much that can happen and that the people can take before it ignites like a powder keg and it all just goes to hell in a handbasket. So, if you're uh if you're legally allowed to do so, buy yourself a firearm, get training, keep yourself safe. Keep yourself and your family safe. And always keep your head on a swivel because this is a crazy world we live in. Uh I don't usually talk this much about stuff like this. I'm not actually like I have my own feelings on politics and everything. I try to keep it off stream, but this one felt different. It felt wrong. And that's not to say like, anytime I hear or see like news of a school shooting, my heart goes out to everybody. It's terrible. And anybody who allows their child to get their hands on a weapon, their parents should be absolutely fully prosecuted. Because if you're going to be a gun owner, you need to be a responsible one. Guns are not toys. Anyone who treats them like toys shouldn't have them. You got to respect them. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyways. Oh, right. Get training with your firearm and keep yourself safe. And once again, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. And to everybody, to everybody who is using this, sorry, and to everybody who's using this event as like an impetus to push political agenda, fuck you. Both sides, all of you who are using this to push political agenda, go fuck yourself. Got that? Like, you're scum. Left, right, Republican, Democrat. If you're using this as a jumping board to further a narrative, go fuck yourself. Bar none. A man died. A man lost his life. For fuck's sake, like, just chill. Just pass respects. Leave it be. Save the bullshit for another day. But like, think about his family, please. For God's sakes, he's not a tool. He wasn't a tool. He's a man, and he was killed. Just stop with the bullshit. Just stop. I feel like I'm starting to get rambly, but yeah, that's what. Yeah. Thanks for the agree, Robert. I appreciate that. It's just this should be a moment of unity where everyone should unite and say, I don't like that. That's bad. Fuck that. And then, we all just agree that like killing people for talking, that's not, no, we don't do that. That's ridiculous. But like, but to see people like celebrating the death of a person, like just scum. Like we truly just, there's so much filth on the internet that just needs to be swept out into the bin or whatever, however you want to put it. Like, a man has died. Man has died. He's gone. His family will never talk to him again. Yeah. So that's gonna do it. Like I said, it was just gonna be a short stream today. I'm not in the headspace to stream, to be funny, to be entertaining. This one stuck with me. I'm a father, I'm very outspoken. I like to be able to speak my mind. And I think anybody else should be able to speak their mind. And I will protect that till my dying breath. I'll stand by that. If you should be able to say whatever you want. But when it gets to violent action and people are starting to lose their lives for for speech, and just because you didn't agree with him, well, whoever commits that just heinous act, I hope you're ready for the blowback, because chances are you're not going to like it. It's going to be bad. Um, and I'm going to tell you, like I've been noticing a pattern. I've stayed fairly center. Well, I don't want to say I've stayed fairly center. I've stayed very, very like out of the spotlight with like what I believe, or at least I try to be. And I just try to like make fun of all the stupid people on both sides. But I've been noticing a pattern, and let's just say the both sides argument. Can't use that argument anymore. Not with how things have been for the past 5 or 6 years. You're going to do more harm for your cause, whoever you are, for doing stuff like this. And it's not only going to harm your cause, you're probably going to get pushback. Law of like the Newton's third law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. I think that was the third law. I can't remember. But yeah, so I'm just gonna say I hope everyone hugs their family tonight, and just holds them dear. I lost 2 sons from gunshot, and it changed my life and my wife. Yes, it is stupid. Yeah. I'm so sorry to hear that, Robert. I can't even imagine what that's like. Like that would be my biggest nightmare. If something like that were to happen to me, I don't think I would survive, if I'm honest. Take that as you will. But I'm very sorry to hear that. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're doing well, you and your wife. But it's just, this one felt different. Like, this was a guy who advocated for talking. And I'm perfectly fine with getting in a room and have someone tell me to go fuck myself. That's fine. You can say that as much as you want, and I'll protect that right of yours until I die. But this is a guy who never called for violence, never called for actual violence, which isn't protected by speech, and encouraged discourse and encouraged talking, and he got shot because of it. That's ridiculous. And it's going to radicalize a lot of people. And I can't say I blame him. Lots of people on social media are just celebrating his death, which is very disgusting. I agree, Domino. Those people are scum. And it's the death of anybody for speaking is just reprehensible. And I think anybody who celebrates that is just scum, not worth the dirt on my shoe. I said that earlier. I don't know if you were in here for that, but and even if it was Charlie Kirk, and even Charlie Kirk, but like somebody else, such as, I'm not going to drop names because I don't want to be seen as like inciting pushback, but like even somebody who's like a prominent like Democrat, if they were taken out in the same fashion, I would be mourning for them as well, because left, right, Democrat, Republican, all in all, these are still people with families. And what gives anybody else the right to take a person away from a family? It's not right. It ain't right. And I don't know why it's hit me so much. Maybe it's because I saw the video. I guess. But the video was really, really fucked with me for a bit there. It was bad. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, yes, I follow him because he wants people to talk. Wish we had more like him. Yeah, like anybody who encourage other people to talk is good in my book. I can still disagree with what they say and think that they're lying scum, but at the end of the day, they're just talking. And they should be allowed to say whatever they want. So, and again, it's a very important distinction to make. Speech is speech, but inciting violence is not just speech. That is its own category. And there's a lot of people out there on the internet who are very good at inciting violence. And they don't seem to hit many consequences. And let's just say they're the type of people who never leave their houses. And I think they don't leave their houses because they probably know that after inciting all this violence, they probably know what would happen to them. But one thing I will say of Charlie Kirk is that if you hear any clicking, it's this little doohickey I got that's like a fidget toy. Keep my hands busy. One thing I will say of Charlie Kirk is that he, as far as I know, was willing to talk to anybody. And I feel like, and I agree with you, Robert. I feel like he opened a lot of other people to talking. I actually saw him change a lot of people's minds. And on stuff I agreed with, on stuff I didn't agree with, agree with him on, he changed some people's minds. And you know what? More power to him. But even if you're like a Democrat or a Republican, left, right, doesn't matter. Anytime a father leaves this earth, leaves two small kids and a wife, that's something that should be mourned. Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We all have the right to say whatever the hell we want, and we shouldn't have to worry about getting capped because of something that we said. It's insanity. And we're starting to go down this hole that I'm not sure that we can crawl out of. And I feel terrible saying that, because I'm at my core, I'm an optimist. I see the United States as one of the greatest countries in the world. The stuff we've accomplished is amazing. But we're in unprecedented times and unprecedented territory, and people are starting to get taken out just simply for speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a road that we cannot go down, because there's probably no coming back from it. And it's just like, it's just disgusting. Like, just all of them, the Hassan Pikers, the Tim Pools, the Kyle Kalinskis, the frickin' Steven Crowders, like, they're all just garbage, all of them. And they're all using this as a springboard to push a message. And it's just, I hate it all, man. Like, I just can't stand it. Hi, Gaming with Ian. Yeah, sorry, this is a bit of a short reel stream. You heard about that? Yeah, it's big news. And it's kind of sticking with me. So I just wanted to, like, I guess just like vomit it all out. And yeah, but I think I've waxed poetic enough about this. Just what it all comes down to, it, like, whether people on the internet, they're still people. If you dislike them, if you like them, they're all people. They all have lives. They all have families. And taking physical action against them because of a disagreement is unacceptable, reprehensible even. And if you're inciting this type of action through your rhetoric, go fuck yourself. If you're celebrating the death of a person, go fuck yourself. I think you're all scum, and I'd rather concern myself with the good people, the decent people who remember that everybody at the end of the day is a human. So, Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that's all I wanted to say on the subject. Um, and again, I'm sorry to everybody. I'm not really in the headspace to stream a game and be entertaining. Not today. In reality, everything has a heart. Even when it's broken, they need help. Yeah, exactly. Like everybody's got feelings. Everybody's got their own demons they need to deal with, and their own opinions, and their own like lifestyle. It's everybody is a product of their environment, and nobody's environment is ever the same. So to expect people to have identical beliefs in all facets of life, it's unrealistic. But we can't be taking physical violence against people because of it, because then we just throw ourselves into immense chaos, and that is a genie we can't put back in the bottle. Anyways, I'm sorry to be such a downer today, but I felt like I had to speak on it a little bit just to get it off my mind. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it there. I'll be back on Friday to play some Hell Is Us. That's a good game. Hell Is Us is a great game. And I got some stream upgrades. I think I'm gonna enact then. So whenever that happens, it's gonna be great. But thanks to everybody for hanging out. I hope everybody's family is doing well. I hope you all hug your family close. If you're legally able to, get yourself a gun, get training, keep you and your family safe. It's very important. And no one's gonna keep you safer than you yourself. Uh, yeah, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. And I hope everybody has a good night to the best of their ability tonight. And I'll be back Friday, and then probably Saturday as well. So, good night, everybody. Be safe. Hug your loved ones. Cherish life.